First, there were delays, then COVID protocols. Now Olympic athletes are dealing with a new obstacle. Some of the most extreme heat and humidity at the Olympics ever. High temperatures have already forced organizers to move several events, including the marathon. So is this something Olympic athletes are just going to have to get used to? Our Kenneth Moten reports from Tokyo.
It wouldn't be the Olympic Summer Games without the heat. But Tokyo 2020, an already unprecedented, delayed, pandemic-plagued Olympics, could be the hottest on record. Temperatures in Tokyo soaring to the mid to high 90s with about 80% humidity.
It's noon in Tokyo. Of course, I'm already feeling it. With the high humidity, it feels like 100 degrees. I don't know how the athletes do it. I just walked up the steps, and that was a lot. Whew.
From tennis to beach volleyball to track and field, and some thousands of athletes competing outside. That crushing heat, dangerous. A Russian archer fainted. A Spanish tennis player taken off the court in a wheelchair, suffering from heat stroke. Daniil Medvedev angrily telling an umpire he could finish his match, but wanted to know who would take responsibility if he died. The Russian tennis player later tweeting, still alive. Tennis great Novak Djokovic calling for a delay in the start time of matches. The International Tennis Federation agreeing to move competitions from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the interest of player health and welfare.
The body is very good at preventing heat stroke. It will tell you to stop. But if you're in an Olympic competition, there's a temptation not to stop.
What do you foresee as the...
Olympics officials were recently asked about heat and climate change.
We cannot reduce the risk to zero, but we can minimize the risk. The response to the climate change is a regular course of work during the Olympic Games.
It was just 3 years ago in 2018 that Japan faced a brutal heat wave, killing more than 1,000 people and tens of thousands of others sickened. The scorching heat has climate scientists sounding the alarm that these extreme temps are not just the result of a hot summer, but signs of climate change.
We know that across the globe it is warming. Some places are warming faster than others. I would say Japan and Tokyo in particular are a microcosm for global warming. In fact, if anything, they probably give us a little more of a vision into what's coming in the future because they are probably ahead of the average warming curve.
The temperature of the host city climbing 2.86 degrees Celsius since the 1900s, more than 3 times as fast as the world's average. According to Climate Central, which is a nonprofit that analyzes and reports on climate science, daily summer highs in Tokyo exceeding 95 degrees Fahrenheit have become all too increasingly common. The concern so grave for the Olympic Games, a study titled Rings of Fire was published by the British Association of Sustainable Sport, warning that athletes are being asked more and more to compete in environments that are becoming too hostile for the human body. And it's not just the Tokyo Olympics extreme heat raising concerns. Last year's Australian Open, players survived scorching 110-degree temps. Some saying it's time the International Olympic Committee start taking climate change into account when selecting where and when the games will be played.
In future games, we need to be very mindful of where the games are held. Look at where the climate has been. Look at where the extremes have been. And then look at how they've been changing in the very recent past so that we don't run into exceptionally hot conditions in some of the places that may be more apt to have them. Second, try not to have outdoor games or outdoor events that are during the peak heat of the day, when the sun is highest in the sky.
These satellite images show the heat island effect over Tokyo, a major urban city that is filled with concrete and very little green space.
There are places where you have a lot of heat-trapping materials, things like asphalt and concrete. And so those materials help the city to heat up more than the surrounding areas during the day, and they also keep the city hotter at night. It's much harder for athletes to cool off in an urban environment, and particularly to get that cooling period they need to refresh themselves at night.
The women and men's marathons will run back-to-back this weekend with much earlier start times in the morning. The International Olympic Committee actually moved the events 3 years ago to Sapporo, Japan, which is about 700 miles north of Tokyo and typically has much cooler temperatures. The IOC trying to avoid images of athletes struggling in the blistering heat.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.